Aha, there we
All
are.
right. I think we are live. Good afternoon, good evening, sunshines. Welcome to Chasing Dreams and Making a Positive Impact. Of course, I am Christine, but I have a special guest today. Super exciting to take you on the journey of an entrepreneur. So this is a new thing that I'm going to be doing here on the page, is inviting people to share their stories, because you've heard a lot about mine, but no two entrepreneurial journeys are the same. No two plot twists are the same. And I want you to hear different voices, because we all come to this place differently, and we all have different hopes and visions for what we want out of our lives from that moment and forward as we look. So please give a very warm welcome to Erin. Erin, welcome to the community.
Thank you, Christine. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm excited to have you. You are my official second guest.
Woohoo!
So I've almost got this tech figured out. I will not say that for sure until I have my third one and go, yeah, I think I figured this out. Yes. But we are very glad. Thank you for opening yourself up to this experience. And I want to ask you just an informal couple of questions tonight to really showcase you, the work you're doing, and your story. So the first question I really wanted to ask you was sort of like, what was your plot twist that led to the decision? Because I know you had a corporate or a career focus before the one you had today. Tell us a little bit about that plot twist and that moment of, wow, I need something different.
Thank you. Yeah, you know what? I love the word plot twist because that's exactly what it was for me. I have been a social worker throughout my career, and I worked in the nonprofit sector. And I'm a mom, and oh my goodness, my oldest is going to be 10 at Christmas. And I'll never forget when she was a baby and I was going through the motions of just new baby land. It was about 9 months in. I'll never forget. That's kind of when things started to get a little dark for me. And I was realizing, like, is this what there is? Is this all there is? Right. And so it was kind of my first experience with postpartum issues. Postpartum depression actually did set in. And I remember sitting at a computer one day and thinking, I have my social work degree and I have all this experience. I'm really great with people and I love to help. What could I do in business? And I was at the time living back home in a small town where I grew up. And my husband was living in the city, finishing up his schooling. So it was really all about him and baby. And it was like, I was literally making applesauce. I remember like homemade applesauce from the trees, thinking, oh my gosh, it's like that 80s movie where the lady like went out of the city and became the orchard, made all the applesauce. And I thought, this is not me. Like, this is something else is for me. So fast forward 10 years, now I'm in the space where I was like, I knew I wanted to be a wellness coach, health and wellness, fitness and all that stuff had always been really key for me. But little did I know that I would actually take my health coaching and turn it into something to do with mental wellness coaching. And the reason that happened was because I actually took a stress leave in December of 2019 from my social work job. And it's something I'd never done, never taken a stress leave, was nervous to do it. My aunt actually was my pillar of strength for me and said, you deserve to do this for you. You're crumbling. It's not fair. There's something else out there for you. And I had already gone through a number of battles with my own mental health. And it was that stress leave that actually prompted me to calm my nervous system for the first time in my life, to the point where I realized what it's like to not live up here in the, what we call the red zone, right? Like complete overwhelm, and to the point of like insomnia, not really having my health figured out. And when I learned that I could get into that calm space, Christine, I was like, oh my gosh, this is motherhood. This is marriage. This is great. And that was December of 2019 when I started that journey. And then what happened? March of 2020, pandemic hit. And I was in one of the best places of my adult life, ironically. And my husband and I had a few discussions that were pretty heated. You want to what? You want to invest in a coaching program in American dollars? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's always a very interesting conversation. Do you have it? Do you not have it?
And
How
I
does that go?
realized Exactly. Yeah. And I realized, you know what, this has been my calling for a really long time. And so I took the plunge, got certified by December, got a dual certification in health and life coaching, enrolled in a mastery program with it because I was really interested in the deep stuff to do with, belief and behavior change around habits, and also almost that transformative type coaching that I was really interested in. And so I went down that path. I learned about CIBN. That's how I met you, Christine, all these amazing entrepreneurs. And I realized that the world of business was exactly where I wanted to be all along. And now I'm starting up a coaching business from scratch, and a number of opportunities have come my way. So I just love the work, and I'm just so grateful to be in the space of what I want to do.
Well, and it's such an interesting thing because I'm not, and I'm all about the plot twist, because there is that moment where you're like, I don't think this feels like me. And I think that's a really universal thing. And I don't think it only happens once. It can happen over and over again. And I know certainly my story and the story we share here a lot is that reinvention. You can reinvent yourself as many times as you want. There's no cap. There's nobody else's opinions that will ever pay your bills. And while you may have well-meaning husbands, friends, parents, you really need to be honest to yourself and say, I'm not this person anymore.
Yeah.
I need different things. And then I give you great kudos for having the courage to stand your ground and probably work through those conversations to get where you are, because there's so many people that stumble right out of the gate because of that uncertainty. Because certainly we always know the hardest path you follow is the 6 inches between your head. And it's a minefield on many occasions. And that's why community is so important and being part of one. So I'm curious now, as you talk about that moment that drove you, but it isn't smooth sailing and you are relatively new in your journey. So kind of, I'd love for you to talk about what kind of early speed bumps did you maybe not see coming when you first got out of the gate and went, check.
Yeah.
Where am I? How certain I am that I want to do this? Or can I do this? And I'd love to hear kind of your early, well, that's unexpected, WTF moments, and kind of how you kept going through those.
Yeah, great question. I mean, I wasn't naive to the fact that this was going to be like a grind and that there is no one else doing the work but me, right? I wasn't naive to that fact, but I didn't realize the extent of if you're stuck in procrastination mode for the smallest thing, or if you don't know what the steps are in terms of promoting something. For instance, if you're going to do a webinar or an interview, or you're going to do all that work leading up to it, and you don't know how to promote it appropriately or effectively, or you don't have the networks to do that, or even if you have the networks but you're not utilizing them. There were so many times that I just didn't understand the scope of what I had, and I had spent amount of time, energy, and money just slugging along, like tearing my hair out trying to figure out tech and all that stuff, right? And then being squirrel, I'll say this, even though I'm part of an incredible mastermind now, and I signed up last March, this March of 2021, and it's funny, the online world of squirrels, right? Everyone and their dog who is in marketing or sees that you're a coach, it's like you're fresh meat. They're just like, I'm going to get you 10 grand in 6 months. I'm going to get you
There's a lot of that.
Months. And it was just like every day I had people friending me and messaging me, and I'm a people person, right? And so I love networking, and I finally just like delete because I would squirrel and I sign up their freebie and I'm thinking I can cut corners. So those would be the speed bumps, I would say. And I now work in this community that I'm in a mastermind with. I'm actually essentially one of the leaders in that group now. And it's funny because I'm sharing with them, like, please don't squirrel, like stick with what we got here. You're going to be marketed to right, left, and center, and everyone means well, but at the end of the day, you just got to find the right fit. And so I think if I had any advice for new entrepreneurs, it would be like, find a community where you feel at home and bug your mentor. Say, like, I'm squirreling right now. Like, I don't know what to do with funnels. I don't know what to do with this and that. And should I hire a VA? Is now the right time? Like, just kind of get in touch with people and bug them. I think everyone's willing to help one another just to hear, because I didn't do that enough. I was lone wolfing, and I was also trying to show that I could do this. And I was used to working on my own in a lot of other capacities. So literally working at home, then you realize you're like, I'm on Zoom all the time, but what am I really accomplishing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is really, it's a common thing I see. And of course, I mentor a lot of early stage entrepreneurs. And I think you hit on a couple of really big things. The first is the lone wolf syndrome. We all think because we're blazing our own trail, and yes, it is our own vision, nobody else gets it, but it doesn't mean you have to do it by yourself. Belonging to networks, belonging to communities, and recognizing that the best path can be a mentor. It can be finding somebody's behavior who you can model. And the irony, especially I think because if you are a coach, I don't think it's exclusive to coaches, but I certainly see it because I feel it in my own world, is I think everyone thinks you're unsuccessful because there are a lot of people in this industry that come without experience. And yet I had a conversation just this morning with somebody who is a new coach, and it was a potential client that I was having this conversation with. And he said, well, obviously network's really important. How much time should I be spending networking? And I said, well, I will tell you 70% of your time should be spent in marketing. And that's because you're constantly needing to be in conversation and meeting people, but you do need to have intent. You do need to have where, and everyone's going to sell you a shiny object, and you need marketing support. You need first clarity. And that's certainly something that I know we're going to talk a little bit about, but it is that if we could give that advice, I think they were very spot on. Don't be the lone wolf, get support, get mentors, and be prepared that yes, this is going to require effort. Nobody's going to build it without you. And you must show up.
You must show up.
And simply having an idea and turning on your light and saying, hi, universe, I'm here, doesn't create a successful business overnight. And it won't happen without strategy and intention. So I love that. So you obviously went and sought mentorship at some point, and you've hired coaches. I know we've talked about that before, but tell me a little about your process for when you knew you needed that support. What did you look for, and what's been the impact by putting up the white flag and say, I can't do this by myself? Maybe a better way to do this is to seek guidance. Tell me what that looked like for you.
So I was really blessed because my coaching program that I was in is Health Coach Institute, and they had incredible peer support. Like we were doing skills labs that way, and it was very professional and yet very much a family. But what I realized is it was so big. Like we're talking, probably 10,000 people involved in this. And so eventually you just kind of like, you're kind of a number in it, even though you felt connected to the program. And it was actually a girlfriend of mine who is a coach, and I've known. She was actually one of the first life coaches that I ever truly met, and it was where my vision really started. Her name is Katie Suick, and she lives in Prince George. And I remember reaching out to her, and we were connecting. She was kind of mentoring me. And then one day she entered me into this. She invited me to a Facebook group called the Smart Woman Group, run by Tara Oldridge. And I had no idea that Tara would end up becoming my saving grace, my coach. And now I'm actually in her mastermind, and I was actually just part of her performance coaching team this week. We did a 3-day event, just wrapped up at 5:00 today. And she plays big. She's got an award-winning podcast. She plays big in helping women understand that they have a business inside of them, whatever that looks like. And so I never ever envisioned that it would come to the point where I could be in leadership. Like I knew I would be a really good coach, but at this point it's like that group coaching element really sticks with me, and I love the one-on-one. However, it's still just carving out my own practice, right? So there's that element of creating consistency with, enrolling clients, becoming a good enroller, not giving away your services for free as a coach. That's a big one, right? Mm-hmm. So I've been really blessed to surround myself with the right people. And I'm so grateful for CIBN. Oh, wow. CIBN is such a game changer. And how amazing to just flip on the screen at 4:00 on a Tuesday and meet like 14, 15 new potential people to meet that week, right? They're just like, they want to see you, they want to meet you and help you, and you're going to help them. And they can be from any walk of business. So I love the online world, and I'm just really all about networking and resourcing things out.
Well, and I think there are something we actually talked about in our CIBN networking meeting on, I think it was Wednesday morning. I'm not 100% sure that's the timeline, but I think it was Wednesday morning. We were talking about, mentorship comes in lots of ways. Obviously, the thing that is so incredible about the entrepreneurial community, and that's why I started this community, is I know that you don't always have a good tribe. You don't always know that there are people who are blazing their trails. And so it can be really feeling very isolating when you first come out of the gate. And yet connecting to other entrepreneurs will reach back. They will give you advice. And if in some cases their business is supporting in really functional ways, whether that's virtual assistants, whether that's somebody's going to help you with your marketing, website design, all kinds of different tools in your toolkit that you'll need as a business owner, but you're going to get support regardless. And when I say to people, I said, you can get support, we can have casual conversations, but if you want to really move the needle, let's work with me in your business moving the needle. And when the time is right, the clients will come, but you've got to really know that that's an important meeting in your calendar. Don't forget to prioritize it for yourself, because it really is. One, it gets you out of your own headspace. It gets you thinking about new ideas, and you really don't know who you're going to meet in any given day. The one meeting you almost feel like, I didn't want to show up for because I was tired or something had melted down 5 minutes earlier, could be the thing that changes your business dramatically. Could be the thing that changed your friendships dramatically. Could be the change that you were seeking that you almost didn't show up for, right?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. And
so I want to talk
and owning
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, I've lost her. I'd love to know, because I know the impact that the community, both this one and the CIBN community and the community that you're part of, that coaching tribe that you had part and parcel. But when you cast your vision to the ripples you want to create, this community is all about making a positive impact. How do you want to make a positive impact as a coach to others? Talk to me a little bit about the sphere that you want to play in.
So I'm really key on the idea that there's a lot of women out there who have gone through something to do with either being on a stress leave from their job, they're nearing burnout, depending on what their work is, especially in the helping field. I mean, as a social worker, I have nurse clients, teachers, people who are constantly filling the cups of others, right? They're giving, and they're really hard to give back to themselves. And so I am specializing in supporting people before burnout. I want to help prevent burnout in this world. And I mean, in 2021, that's pretty much everyone you run into nowadays, like trying to prevent burnout. But
all levels of burnout.
Yeah. But women with kids, right? There's just so many hats that women are wearing nowadays, and especially like the working from home, running businesses from home, direct sales from home, like yourself, like me, like having multiple things on the go all the time and just being in that frazzled, chaotic state. And I really want to help women understand that they can take control of that overwhelm might just be that they're not quite sure what's going on. They haven't really narrowed it down what their priorities are, and that they don't have to live in overwhelm. I used to think it was like I had to live in overwhelm, right? I was almost a badge for me, like, oh, just 5 minutes late, Erin, frazzled and, living in chaos. And I would joke about it, but it was actually tearing down my confidence. And I realized that, that has to do with mental health and overcoming whatnot. But what if the woman out there right now that's wanting to have a really fantastic Christmas, we all are, has got like all the things to do on her to-do list. And really all she really wants is to just sit down around the Christmas tree with her kids on Christmas morning and not have 60 things running around in her head. She just wants to be present. It's not all about the presents. And that's why I put together a group program around that for the holidays called My Focused Life, because I really believe that wellness is a choice. Like, we get to create that, and that we can be back on track if we really wanted. So there's a lot of areas in my life that I had to declutter and learn the hard way. And one of them was definitely up here, decluttering my thoughts, figuring out how they're affecting my habits. And then that's what I work on with my clients. And so I figure, you know what, we can really just narrow down what it is your priorities are. Because not everything could be a priority. Even when you're in business. Right? Yeah, we all want 16 things to be the priority, but really, if your kids are sitting in front of you right now, you know, and you're playing a board game, like, that gets to be priority. What they want for their holiday season, what they want for getting back into action and moving their body and eating healthy, because we're all going to eat. I mean, it's Christmas. And everyone has those New Year's resolutions, and I don't
drop
want
the guilt
to be
about
stuck in that. Yeah. So My Focused Life is that program.
I love that. Because I think, you know, there's certainly one thing, and you know, my own business is about 60-40 women to men. But one of the things that you know, I knew I didn't have confidence saying out loud early in my business was that I was doing it for me. You know, I think when I first started the business, I had a lot of reasons why I thought I was starting my business, and they were all about serving others, being able to support aging parents and having a job that wasn't tied to permission. Can I take time off? Or for my husband, if I needed to be supporting him for his health or whatever. And yet it was interesting. I want to tell a story because I said, like, I wanted freedom from not having to request time off, freedom for not having to feel guilty if I, you know, who cared about the emails? For gosh, like, really, in bigger perspective, it comes clear in a heartbeat. But the interesting thing was, a year into my business, I was away on holiday, and I was cutting things out for a vision board while I was on holiday. So obviously mental space was in a very different place. And when I came home, I put them all in a journal, because I always have 10 journals everywhere I am. And I took it home, and when I put it back up, we were sitting in my office one day, and my husband says to me, that vision board isn't about serving the immediate family. Those are your things that really matter to you. This is actually about you. And it was really an interesting reflection back. It did take me aback. But the other thing is, it forced me to get honest that I'm okay to do this for me. And it is about serving other people. But I started this to have a sense of self. And when I first made the decision to start my journey, I didn't actually consult my husband. He wasn't my husband at the time. We were just about to be married. And I think I swaned into the kitchen, getting a cup of tea, turning on the kettle in the morning, and said, oh, by the way, I started a business. And he's like, should we have had a conversation about this? I was like, oh, he's like, you know, we're about to be married. I'm like, oh, well, I've never been married before. It never occurred to me. Like, it just didn't know how ignorant with me, but it didn't occur to me. And I said, well, okay, but I'm doing this for me. And he's like, okay, then. Mm-hmm. And yet somehow in that year, I got to be, you know, portraying that it was really not about me. And then I got checked and went, oh, this is about helping women be seen. Like, I wanted to be seen, standing on some level of independence, not in isolation, but some level of independence, being confident in who this version of me was, and knowing that all the battle scars and plot twists and messy moments that make me who I am serve value to someone who's following behind me. And that's really what coaching ultimately is. So I'd love for you mentioned briefly a little bit about your program for Christmas and being present versus focusing on the presents. And it is simpler. The things your parents want are simpler. They want you to come by and have a cup of coffee. They don't care about whatever gift you're giving. It is so much more simpler. It's about the memories of making them together. But who needs this? And what would they get out of going through this multi-day program or multi-session program with you, so that we can see if any of them are in our audience or know somebody who says, let's have a buddy. We need to do this together.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So I truly believe that moms with kids is really where a lot of the people are at this point. Could be younger or older kids that they have, but they're kind of stuck in this sense of running to activities or dealing with everything with school. And when the holidays come, there's just all the to-do list on their tasks. So they're just looking at it like, how big's this list going to get? And is the Christmas cards going to get out the door in time? Are we going to do this right? Are we going to have this? And what bake it? Like, even for me, I'm trying to schedule them. Like, when am I going to bake Christmas cookies? Like, I have not even cleaned my house in the last week, being involved in other stuff. And it's one of those stresses I'm thinking about. Like, I have to do, like, Elf on the Shelf is happening. It's December 2nd. I'm not on that yet, right? Like, we have our stuff
Any
up,
parent
decorated, but
Elf on the Shelf.
It's
You're crazy.
everywhere. And so if we can declutter what's going on in our thoughts, we can declutter what's going on everywhere in our digital devices. That's one of the weeks that I really want to touch on. I am inundated with emails and social media, and living with ADHD myself, I squirrel. And so I've realized how many people have paperwork and everything just everywhere. And I learned how to manage that. And so I put that into my course. It's actually a 6-week course. So decluttering our homes. Can you imagine having space for Christmas? I don't know, like just not all of the junky decorations. Like my kids are 6 and 9. So right now it's all about the homemade stuff, right? But it's like, I want ease. I want flow. And I talk to women every day are like, oh, that would be so nice. That would be so nice to have that and not just inundated with stuff, right? And at the same time, if your head was clear, if you were sleeping again at night, right? If you were able to have a conversation with your husband or just sit down and like have the fireplace going and just chill, not having to have all this other stuff weighing you down. Because I know that the stress of this entire year, well, 2020 as well, it's a weight. So it's just really all about anybody who's wanting to shift out of complete chaos. My webinar, I called it Frazzled to Focus because I think of the word frazzled as like, you know, I'm gonna tear my hair out. Just want to drink the wine. What am I gonna do? And then just like, let's level it out, right? And so really for anybody that is in that space, it's for women. And at this point, it's moms in my program. I'm open to people that are not moms, of course, but that would be the group dynamic. And I have room for 6 more women.
And when does it start?
At this point, it's going to start on December 6th. So okay. I am taking calls about that. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Awesome. Well, it sounds amazing because I definitely, you know, we're needing tools because our toolkits have been depleted over the past adventurous 18 to 20 months that we've lived in. And so I would encourage everybody to not be the lone wolf, to not think that you have to keep spinning all of those plates. Give yourself the gift of your own sense of self. Give yourself the gift of time with Erin and other people who are swimming upstream in the plot twist that you are. It's worth it. It's going to be worth it to your mental health, and it will be worth it for the memories that you create in 2021, which will lead you into a great start to a brand new year and a new chapter that all of us get to start building towards chasing our dreams and making a positive impact. So it's been super fun to connect with you. I have one final question, and it's a little bit about, you know, what one piece of advice would you give to somebody starting out? We talked a little bit about it, but I want you to say, you know, if you are somebody right now navigating a plot twist, contemplating a new career path, contemplating retaining a mentor or a coach for the first time, what's the one piece of advice that's really helped you move your needle? And what would you give to someone else who is coming behind you in the same kinds of directions?
You know, I think it comes down to this is taking 100% responsibility for your actions and inactions. And when you make mistakes, give yourself grace, because shoulding all over yourself ain't helping. And I went down that path. We can go down those paths, right? And that's where mentorship comes in. So just allowing yourself to make the mistakes and be open to mentors giving you constructive, helpful feedback without, feeling defensive about it. And that's something you have to learn too, because especially when you're carving out something that yourself, you can have a coach literally be like, that ain't gonna work. And you're starting from square one, right? And you can take that feedback, or you can, travel your own path and try out the hard way. But I truly believe that's where community comes in. And someone like Christine, you guys, like, what a valuable coach to have in my network. I'm so grateful. And I know she's doing huge things in this group and with this community. And, she's just so generous with her time when I reach out and just ask the odd question. So if you're considering working with Christine, my goodness, give her a call, sit down with her. She knows all about the plot twists, and she's just an incredible human.
Oh, that's very sweet of you. Thank you. That was very kind and very unexpected. But it's been super fun. We don't get there on our own. And
no,
I want you to always remember that this community is your safe space. It is the place where you can sit until you're ready to stand. It can be a place where you network with people and where you hear the stories, because I want you to recognize and totally understand, embrace, and celebrate we are all works in progress. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing to be a work in progress. And it is about becoming the next version of yourself who you need to be to take the next chapter and write your own success story. That's what it's all about. So we're very grateful, Erin. Thank you for coming on, sharing your story. I love to see the work that you're doing. It's really a great gift. I always say the best bit of being a coach is I get to be shotgun on so many great adventures. I'm here for you at any point. I'd love to see your success. I'm grateful that our paths have crossed through CIBN. Thank you for being here. I look forward to having you back in the new year.
Awesome. Thank you, Christine.
See you guys
what
soon.
a pleasure. Have a beautiful holiday.
You're welcome.
Guys, see ya.
Take care. Bye.